So it is like day 500 of quarantine for me. Not really, probably like, I don't know, 6 weeks now, something like that. And I am kind of running out of busy things to do. There are a lot of things that I need to do that I've been procrastinating. But beyond that, I thought of something that I could do today. So this is my favorite book. And my favorite copy of my favorite book. And as you can tell, it is quite old. I've had it for many years, and just yesterday this part of the binding came off. So what I thought I would do today was make a new cover for my book. Just because this one clearly is not getting the job done anymore, and I want to be able to keep my book. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today, and hope y'all enjoy it. So seriously though, I love this cover for this book, and it's by, I wanna say, hold on, yeah, Ruben Toledo. And Ruben, you did a fantastic job on this cover. Like, just look at that. This is me. That was trying to keep the book together. This is like the color it was originally, and this is the color it has turned. That's just from like overwearing it and, you know, years of skin contact and oils build up. I know it looks disgusting. But yeah, this literally just held on by a single piece of duct tape. As well as this. This is also just held on by duct tape. There is basically no cover anymore because it is completely worn off. So I actually think what I want to do is actually take the cover off of this book. I have a pair of scissors with me here. I think I want to take the cover off, build a new one with some thick paper or cardstock, and then possibly sew some fabric onto it as like a cover. I think that might work. I'm not sure, but that seems kind of like what I want to go for right now. So that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, I don't like this feeling. Oh no. So this last page kind of got ripped a little, and it was already ripped a little bit, so it's not a big deal. But this book feels so weird without its cover. So this is the full spread out cover after it's been taken off, and you can tell the color difference between the inside and the outside and just how worn this book is. For reference, I've had it I want to say 11 years now, and I've read it over 100 times. So the fact that it's even in this good of a condition is kind of remarkable, honestly. Now, the book itself is in relatively good condition. It never really got into bad condition because I have been trying very hard to take care of this book. And the reason I liked this specific copy of this book, I do have other copies, but the reason I liked this copy was, one, the cover, because most of the time you get a classic book and it has some stodgy, awful portrait that just doesn't look at all good, and it just makes the book look boring, and it doesn't actually explain what the story's about in any way. But this right here, this explains the story very well. I think it's a really good representation of this story, and I really just love it. And the other reason that this is my favorite copy is because it is, I wonder where you can find it, but it is in volumes. Most of the copies I find nowadays are not in volumes. And originally Pride and Prejudice, which was actually originally titled First Impressions, and then later changed to Pride and Prejudice, was in 3 volumes. So if you're looking for like an original copy, you're going to find it in 3 volumes, which it's really hard to find of one that's in even volumes anymore. But this specific copy is in the original volumes as well as in the original English, which, like, the weird spelling things that they had. So like right here where it says ankles, or I think it's show, or see, it shows infection. I just love they have like the original English spelling of it. And obviously that's not how it's written in most books anymore. They've modified the spelling, which not all copies modify the spelling, but a lot have. And so I really like that they brought it back to the original 3 volumes, as well as modified the spelling. And then they have just these beautiful little pictures in here that I really like, which is why this is my favorite copy. So that's why I have to give it a new cover. And as much as I love this one, which I think is just beautiful, there's no way I can replicate it. Alright, so these are the rough dimensions of the book. I just really quickly traced it in 3 parts. And this is some pretty thick paper, but I don't think it's going to be thick enough, so I'm probably going to double layer this if I can. Or definitely put the fabric on like I was thinking, but I don't exactly know how I get the fabric on. I don't really have a plan yet. Okay, so I have done a little bit of research on how to rebind books, and generally you can usually find some glue here and usually reheat it, I guess, to rebind a book. In this case, there's paper covering the glue. Besides that, I don't want to pull up any of that extra little bit of paper, although you can see the glue here. And as you can tell, there are no there aren't any signatures or anything in here, so it's not a terribly well-bound book, as you can tell. But since the glue is not readily available and I don't want to pull up anything left as it's already starting to crack and stuff, I think what I'm going to do, and I know this is probably going to make people cringe when they hear it, is I think I'm going to use hot glue. Just because I have hot glue right here, and because the fact is, I just want the cover to stay on. And it doesn't have to stay on forever because I'm going to have to rebuy this book anyway. Just because I do want to keep that original cover on. I do want to find another copy of that book because I love that original cover so much. But this one's just going to be for reading, whereas the other one's going to be for looking at. I know that sounds super silly, but I do really, really love that cover. It holds a lot of memories for me since it is my favorite book and that is the best cover of the book. So this is the cover so far. I put it to the specifications, cut it, and it is 2 pieces of paper. And what I think I'm going to do, I think that actually doesn't look too horrible, is I'm going to get a piece of fabric that I really like, and I'm going to sew the fabric onto here. I don't know how well the paper is going to sew, so maybe I'll just sew it and then slip the paper on like a book cover, possibly. But I do want to have this detached when I do that, so I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to glue it on. So that's my plan right now, and we'll see how that goes, and hopefully it goes really well, and if it does, I'll show you how I gave my book a new cover. Okay, so I did some more thinking, and actually I realized since I have 2 pieces of paper, I could, instead of sewing, because I don't know how well paper sews, I could cut out this just a little bit thicker, and then glue it to the edges here. And I know, gluing fabric, I'm such a horrible human being, but glue the fabric onto here, and then take the other piece of paper and then glue that on top. So that way, I'll have that double thickness. I mean, and that still isn't really all that thick, but without having that fabric showing on through the edge. Oh my goodness, I just completely, y'all couldn't see any of that, could you? Anyways, cut this out a little big, fold my fabric in, and I decide on this fabric because I really like the pattern, and then throw that on and then glue it to my book. So that is my new plan. We'll see how it goes. So this is the fabric. This is a book cover thingy. And this is the book. Now, the one thing I was reading, I just covered up the screen with my finger, didn't I? Oh, I don't even care. The one thing I was reading is that you have to remember not to put the book in upside down. And I looked at my pattern and realized it doesn't matter which direction I do it, which is good, but I do think I want it to be this direction when I put it in. So I'm gonna try to keep it that way, just for, because I think that would be prettier, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference because I just picked a very basic pattern. And it looks pretty boring from the back, but I actually think it kind of looks almost just as cool. Like, yes, this is much more vibrant, but this is also somehow really beautiful. It's more like a watercolor. So I could do it backwards if I wanted to. The fact is I just don't want to. But yeah, I have all this extra fabric that I actually used to make a pair of shorts the other day, which I would probably be wearing right now if I hadn't been wearing them for the last 3 days because, hey, it's a quarantine and I can do what I want. So yeah, I'm rambling. I'm just gonna get to it now. I realize you can barely see anything from this angle, and I am sorry, but there's not really too much I can do about that. Alright, going in. I burnt my finger. So I started putting it on and realized I had a big issue. The fabric was not sitting right. And you can tell here, it's gotten all messed up because I pulled it into varying levels. So I think I have to go all at once. As you can see, I pulled too much, and now when I go over here, the salvage end is visible from the back. So that's not correct. So I'm gonna have to pull all. Try this again.
I think it might be drying out too quickly.
Okay, so I have burnt my finger like 4 times doing this, but this is what it looks like so far. And this should just fold right up. Yep, it folds right up, and it looks really good here, but this does not look good. So this is the part where I think I kind of got smart for half a second there. I'm gonna put this on the outside, sorry, on the inside there. And so I think actually I should trim the edges just a bit, so that you can see just a little on the inside. But then that way you won't see this ugliness happening. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I think this is the part that needs to be glued in first. Now the book folds, and you know, it's not the prettiest, but it's gonna have to do because I don't have a cover anymore for my book, so I need to have one. I messed up a little bit here. Oh well. Yeah, so I'm just gonna glue here, like really, really thick glue. And what I learned when I was doing this is you wanna do just a little bit, push it in, do the little push it in. I don't think I can just glue the whole thing and then snap it on. I think I'm just gonna have to do a little bit at a time, which it's gonna be annoying, but I think that's the way it has to be done, so there you go. already, so it's done. It's not the greatest, I will be honest. It's kind of chunky and a little bit weird, and the book stands up. But would you rather have this book or this book? In my opinion, this is a much fresher look. It's just a little bit nicer, and I like the fabric feel and the noise that it makes. So yeah, I rebound my book. I could have just duct taped this all up into oblivion, but I really just didn't think my book deserved a duct tape cover. I thought it deserved something a little bit nicer. And this is a little nicer, so this is what I got. I don't think this is thick enough. It's really pretty thin. But, yeah, and I would, I guess, give a little bit more room to bend, because I didn't think about how much room it would need to bend. But yeah, that's what it looks like. This is my copy of Pride and Prejudice, which is now Incognito Pride and Prejudice. And I did accidentally flip it upside down. But it's okay, because, like I said, I picked a fabric that it didn't matter. So, there you go.